So hi everyone, today in this video we're gonna develop another mental model that can be useful for you, since mental models are representations about how the reality work, and as much more you grasp them, higher so is your probability to get what you want, that is prosperity. For you to get prosperity, you rely in taking the best actions that as well they are the best depending in the context that you apply in, because obviously not all actions that you do is gonna bring to you the same results because you can apply it in different contexts. And that's why so it's important to get a bit of knowledge of what other ones have experienced. It's much better than you just rely in the knowledge of the things that you learned over your time goes in the experience that you have. It's good to study what other ones have criticized, what other ones ever said as feedbacks. Is the smartest way, is the most efficient, is the way that you can get knowledge without you always having to put effort to get. That's why so we, and even if you don't have time, don't need to study, you don't need to take like all the type of information that exists in all books, in all the things. You can just take the essence. If you don't have time, other ones can do this job. We have now artificial intelligence that can do it. So it's a thing that you can take these small concepts that are like the 80%, like the 80% most matters so in whatever is the studies that people do, these methodologies, mental models, frameworks. And what's going to be a one that I would like to talk, it's a one that's taken from studying history, and you see that this society always have a survival pyramid, so things that they always rely to build the society as we have today. So, and what is this? We have the most fundamentals that are in the basis, but and you go on that they kind of lose a bit of how impactful they are so to have society to remain existent, but you have to understand them their kind of rely in having a good performance in the prior type of basis of the pyramid. But then so what's like this so-called idea of this survival pyramid is societies thrive or collapse based on how they manage five hierarchical layers of survival. Weakness in any layer destabilize those above it. It's what we argue. But then so what's the base? What's the thing that every society has as a base, the most essential thing that if it doesn't have it, not all of the other layers matters. The first is food and water, the base. So what it is, reliable access to calories and clean water. No civilization survives famine or drought. What are like examples? We have the Mesopotamia. The salt buildup from irrigation creates crop failure, which so create the Sumerian collapse. The Green Revolution in the 60s, fertilizers and hybrids saved billions from starvation. What's the modern risk today? That we have to take a look because it's a basis. It's something that never can fail. What's like the risk that we need to focus today in this layer that's the most fundamental one? Soil degradation, around 40% of global farmland is degraded. It's something that people have, it's the most type of important problem. It's arranging food, water, resources, the clean water for people. It's the thing that always matters, calories, nutrients. It's always the layer, it's always that you should focus. After you have food and water provided, then after that you rely on the next stage, that is the energy, the engine. And what it is, sources to power growth like human labor, animals, fossil fuels, renewables. What are like examples? So Roman Empire relied on slave labor and then so collapsed when conquests stopped supplying slaves. Industrial revolution, the coal that so had make the factories work, and then so global hegemony for Europe. What's the modern risk today from so we don't have this energy, these engines that make so the society and economy works after. So we provide the resources that we start in developing, and a lot of these resources today they as well need the energy to exist, the human labor, to have so exist animals that you can take away, or animals that make some of the work in some industries for human. Obviously, the fossil fuels that are helpful to create energy and other all type of materials. What's the modern risk that we have today in energies, for example, so the over dependence on fossil fuels. That's all create as well climate disasters, but as well the fossil fuels, they have limitations of their existence in them, so you can so enter in the extinction of the existence, and that's why we kind of prioritize so much the transitions for more clean energy, more renewable, like it is the solar energy, the winds. So it's thing that we should more focus, and obviously the energy is what so makes the economy to exist. People that kind of crazy and makes the entrepreneurship, all that stuff. But housing, they rely always in existing food and water, and then modern risk for food and water. Soil degradation, important to understand how to solve it. Afterwards, what's the problem that's most important is the overdependence in materials that are like the foundation materials for the creation of energy for the human labor as well to exist, and so the animals to procreate. Uh, we have the next layer after the energy we taking care of the engine is the technology. It's like the amplifier where it is tools that boost what food and energy creation, the food so creation efficiency and energy efficiency as well. So the technology is a technological way to do something. And what do we want? We want so to get resources at lower cost as possible. We want so the energy, the engine, when we create the economy, that human labor is optimized. So we use it and we take as much as possible of them without also making them and having so diseases that's okay by working too much, the animals, so we don't explore them at the point that they can enter an extinction, fossil fuels, so to then they don't as well enter in the phase of extinction. So we have technology that amplifies, cuts away the type of things that we probably could use better if we have a better technology. That's why after we have energy, so the foundations, the food and water that so provides these resources for human labor, animal, we need to have technologies to make us better in so creation of these resources that are so better type of way to create food and water and energy. For example, technology that amplifies our ability to create people that are educated. So now we have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence creates a new way that now people get more educated, which so makes as people have more energy potential because the human labor that's one of our resources are more well educated. They can learn faster how to do things. So let's see all the importance of technology, investing in technology, is why people like so much invest in technology, science. It's people, it's something that we have to get. Technology, it amplifies this creation of resources, makes you create the resources, this scalability, so to provide for a large type group of community. And then, so what are the examples of the whole and technology source to be important? In Inca Empire, the terrorist farming, more potato storage, thrived in hands. So the ability to have technology to storage potatoes, like arranging a ways to potatoes do not get spoiled. And we have in the 20th century, the artificial intelligence could optimize energy rise, for example, or deepen inequality. I think that was well have to look. What's the pattern? Tech without ethical guardrails destabilize governance as well. It says something technically. Technology is a way to do something, a technique. It's not. It's something that exists already. If you go a lot of time down. You don't. Technology has not emerged in like the last century. After so we have technology. After so we start growing in scale what we produce. It's important so to exist the government that is the stabilizer. So what is the systems to fairly distribute resources and resolve conflicts. So after we have to produce something in scale, can create conflicts that we can start exploring resources that others was as well like to do it as well. So by me expressing in scale because I have technology to do it, I have some more dependency in more people, so I impact more families, and then so it's important to have a government to stabilize these conflicts and make so this society that already has so food and water, resources, and has technology to amplify what the people spend it and the way that this energy is spent to create outputs that are produced resource goods. We have now the importance of the governance. Examples. I think it's very clear what I'm trying to mean. But anxiety at the Egypt, the pharaohs as gods ensured and so ensured Nile flood management, which so creates stability. The post-World War II Europe, welfare states prevented communist revolutions. Failure mode, important that what will exist and that also puts the governance not being so credit for people is corruption, like the Venezuela's oil wealth squandered by elites. after the existence of governance, we have what? The culture, the glow. So what is? Shared stories, values that justify the system to exist. So why we are presenting system? Because the power of union is higher than everyone acting so alone. And then so it's important that for existing so by existing governance, now we are people now working in certain ways. We have more relation with people, so we are in a community, and that's why it's important to also exist a culture. A culture is important in a society to thrive, and then so this shared story about that creates cohesion between groups, and obviously justifies the norms and the values that the system has, and obviously so the culture is a religion, the nationalism, the humanism, and then so are examples. What are like some ones? Medieval Europe, Catholicism unified for fractured kingdoms, the modern crisis, declining faith in the democracy. So the creation of a culture of polarization that all puts in risk the thrive of society, even if it has the government, technology, energy, and food and water that we have today. Mainly in Europe, we have like the fights in the cultures, like people that are hard against immigration, other ones that hard. So we start more seeing that it's getting distorted in that type of way. And obviously could even be amplified if other things that as technology start not existing, that energy. So we are seeing problems as well. That so can even aggravate these type of problems that emerge in the most superficial categories in that pyramid. So why this matter today? Everyone get it? So we see risks in each one of these layers, and then so it's important for you that if you have so presenting a society and you take so decisions, see and recognize society's weakness by seeing so this type of 4 or 5 layers that the society has to look if it wants to thrive. So it's important to look at, and it's important that as well can predict collapse if one of these layers and the most fundamental ones start not existing in certain societies. So I expect this video was made as useful in some videos into next and the others so may trigger your interest. With that much more to say, just thank you and see you in the next one.